Well, there's a lot going on this weekend, and this time it is a gala. Welcome to In the Loop. Well, hello and welcome to the Watercress Line's 2021 Autumn Gala, with the theme of Somerset and Dorset, paying homage to that fantastic and fabled route from Bournemouth to Bath, featuring two visitor locomotives that both would have been seen on the line, and also the opening of a new museum exhibition down at Alresford, saying welcome to the Somerset and Dorset Railway Trust. So, without further ado, let's crack on with the event. Arguably one of the star attractions of this event was City of Wales, visiting the railway for its first time in preservation history, and the crews have absolutely loved it. I've received so many messages from people asking when it can come back, and it's been fantastic to see an unrebuilt bully working over the Watercress line since the last time we saw one was probably when Weybridge was running. So we really do have a lot to look forward to. And of course we had 53808. Just a handful of locomotives designed specifically to work over the S&D. And of course, we had one more. The standard 4 tank 80151 visiting from the Bluebell Railway. This is the first railway it's been to since preservation, apart from obviously the Bluebell where the work was finished. And one of our volunteers, or a couple of our volunteers, are actually quite involved with it. Not in the sense of keeping it running today, but that initial step to save the locomotive.
To introduce ourselves, Chris Hunt is a member of S&T. He's a former guard and signalman. I'm a company director, a society trustee. Sorry, I'm Richard Hawkins, and I've been a guard for 44 years. Chris and I first met in about 1973, 70? When he came to a meeting of the regional group, the Chelmsford branch of Stour Valley Railway Preservation Society. Being the Chelmsford branch, it met in Billericay, of course. And he came along to raise support for a certain BR standard Class 4 locomotive, 80151, which at the time was residing in Barry Scrapyard in South Wales. And I thought, BR standard, I used to see these working cross London freights, and they used to lurk in the shadows of Victoria and go down to Littlehampton and Eastbourne and places. Anyway, the momentum took off, and perhaps you'd explain why you thought a BR Standard 4 tank would be a most useful engine to have.
Yeah, it actually goes back a lot further than this. You have to remember that the Stour Valley was a line which went from near Colchester up to near Cambridge through the wilds of East Anglia, and it even missed Saffron Walden. So there's not a lot of traffic around at all, and it was up for closure and closed in 1967, except for the southern part, which in fact from Sudbury to Marks Tey. There had been a preservation society which was thinking it was going to take over the whole line, but of course it was far too big, far too much money, and therefore it really disintegrated until a little group started at Chapel and Waitscombe Station. And that station is where we were based, and we were based there so that we could take over the remaining part of the line from Sudbury to Marks Tey should it close. Now, we set the base up there, and we were running for 3 or 4 years, and another group came up with the S15 called 841 called Green King. They actually progressed with that greatly, and it went to Shildon to the Stockton Darlington exhibition there, and also run 3 rail tours on BR as it was then. This sort of heartened us to think, well, maybe we should get another loco out of Barry.
It's just worth mentioning that to get the locomotive in and out of Chapel Yard,
Yes.
we stayed up all night. There were about, 50 of us?
Yeah.
And we slewed the track.
BR's track.
With a member who was a professor of metallurgy at Leeds University standing in for the local inspector. Such was his reputation, and we slewed the track to get the locomotive in, and we did that 6 times.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. So it's all good fun. So hence going back to the story of 80151, we'd been down to Barry, we'd had a look at the locos down there, and the other one we had a look at was 80150. We took down our engineering manager, and he had looked at the locos, and he said, "You don't want 150. That hasn't got much left on its tyres. You will only get one turning out of it." And so he said, "Go for 80151. That's a nice loco. It's got plenty of water. It's got plenty of coal space. It's a modern design, and I think we can do something with it." So that's how we got to getting 80151, or setting up the fund for 151. It took us about 3-4 years. The price quoted was 6,250, and we fiddled around trying to get money by selling books, selling raffles and all sorts of things. We both had mortgages up to our ears, because I think my house cost 4,700 and the loco was 650, wasn't it? Yeah. So we set ourselves up going to try and fund this thing. And in the end, we got a bit of a loan from the company. This wasn't a private deal. This was actually the railway company's locomotive to run the line should it close. We went down to Barry on, I think it was June 74. Went into Mr. Woodham's office. I shook him by the hand, handed the cheque over. He looked at it and he said, "Sorry, this is the wrong price." I said, "What do you mean? You quoted as 6,250. Oh no, it's gone up to 8,400 now because of the price of copper went up 2 weeks ago." So our hearts sank. The 12 of us that were in there, that was it. He had nameplates of Great Western locomotives all around the walls, and we looked at them and not looking at him. Then he spoke up and said, "Look, you've been at this a long time, haven't you? Yeah, we'll stick to the original price." That's how we got it at 6,250.
And that, my friends, is what we call a motivational story. A group of people who went to a scrapyard and raised money for a locomotive. And of course, that's how most of these beautiful bits of kit got overhauled and saved. And of course, we do have our own standard 4-tank engine here, 80150. And if you were here this weekend, you may have seen the guys stall here at Ropley. But that's it from us this week. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bring me sunshine. That, my friends, is Simon Wagner, General Manager. He says we don't have fun here at the Watercress line. My timing for this has to be impeccable. Unfortunately, it is me. And if you were here this weekend, you may have seen they're stalled here at Ropley. But that is it from us this week. So guys, thank you so much. Damn it, Simon! 2. And we'll see you next time. Bye. Simon!